Of the year, in fact, the end of a decade, and we thought it'd be a really good idea to meet Britain's favourite pop singer of the 80s. Come to mention it, Britain's favourite pop singer of the 70s and the 60s, and he's here, Cliff Richard! Jealous to see I get the extra kiss.
I know, well, even Freddie Starr didn't get that.
That's true. I like the jacket, by the way.
I dig it out every Christmas. I've had it a while. It's kind of, the gold is kind of wearing off the shoulders, I've noticed.
Would you blend with our gold tree, you see?
Well, that's just coincidence. I thought I'd try and look a bit Christmassy, so I, grabbed something at the neck. I knew Jason would be on. I thought, well, he was wearing these flash lapels, so I thought I'd throw something at the throat.
And you keep bumping into him. That you keep bumping into him all around the world virtually, don't you?
Well, I've been promoting my album for the last 2.5, 3 months, and the funny thing is, you do tend to meet a lot of artists because everyone's promoting their albums that are out for Christmas time, and I've met Jason on 2 or 3 occasions. And I must admit, been very impressed each time. He's a really nice guy, isn't he? Yes! Well, you read all sorts of funny things and you don't know what to believe. I ought to know better, mind you, having had a lot written and read about me, but I've been very impressed. In fact, there's a lot of these young groups. I saw Bros singing live recently on television. I thought, crumbs, these guys can really do it. Oh, so, you know, I'm getting a little worried now.
Never. Listen, I was watching you on the television last night, actually, the Wembley concert. Must have been a highlight of the year for you.
Oh, a highlight of my life. I've never, ever played to an audience as large as that, you see, so it was a fantastic experience. In fact, funnily enough, I mentioned Bros, but Bros followed me in at Wembley when we filmed that in the summer. And I kept thinking to myself, I wonder how they feel about it, because I waited for 31 years before I played to my biggest crowd. And there's these guys, I don't know how they had the guts to do it, because I was terrified. When you think we spent about $2 million plus on the show, rehearsed it for 6 weeks, had an opening night and a closing night. And it was a really terrifying affair, that first night. The second night was much more emotional. Having got it right the first night, I relaxed much more. And then the emotion of it hit me, and in fact, it's probably the reason why my face was really wet with tears at the end of that video. I'm a little bit embarrassed by it, but they said, we've got to leave it in. There's nothing else to cut away to. But
at your stage in the game, you actually followed Jason's footsteps, and you got in touch with Stock Aitken and Waterman to do a single.
Well, do you know...
Why was that?
Well, in fact, I was heading up to my 100th... You know, Barbara Knox was your 100th guest.
That's quite right, actually.
Yeah,
at the end of this programme, that's right, we would have had 103 guests.
And Barbara Knox was your 100th. Well, I was heading to my 100th record, and I thought, what am I going to do? Everyone's expecting so much. And so I thought, well, rather than just get one writer to write me a song, I asked Alan Tarney, who's written big hits for me in the past, to write a couple of songs. I produced a couple of songs that I'd found. I got Aswad to produce a song, and I thought, I've never made a dance record. I've never been in the dance charts. Who has the biggest hits, Stock Aitken and Waterman? So I phoned them up, and they said, no, we haven't got anything. And then I got a phone call about 3 months later saying, we've got a song we think you'll like. And I went in, and they played it to me, I liked it, and we recorded it. And of course, it was a big hit. It was number 3 here, and I've just heard, just a couple of weeks back, that, in fact, I haven't heard what the Christmas charts are like in France, but 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was really high in their charts, and I've not been high in their charts for yonks. So Stock Aitken and Waterman, thank you very much.
No, mind you, some people said that Cliff doesn't need to do that at this stage in the game.
Do what?
Well, actually, to go to Stock Aitken and Waterman, you know, I mean, you've done so well to, you know.
I don't know, I don't suppose that, I don't know what Jason feels, but I don't suppose any of us have to do anything, really, or if you've got your audience, I kind of know what I can do best now, and I don't try to deviate too much from that, and the fans know what I do, and so that I could keep on doing that, but every now and then it's nice to just say, oh, you think you know what I'm going to do? Well, it's not true. I'm going to do something else.
Well, you were counting up our guests. You actually were quite right in as much that this series it's 103. But I was counting up your career. Do you know that in the 90s you'll be hitting the 5th decade?
I know.
I mean, that's astonishing when you rate it like that.
I started late in the 50s, but it does have to count. I started 58, so the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and now with the help of Van Morrison, of course, and of course I'm on that Band-Aid record, so I kind of entered the 90s on a nice high, yeah.
Unusual recording with Van Morrison.
Yeah, although it is unusual in some respects, but he's a singer. So when singers get together, it's not that strange, really. But again, I think a lot of people have actually said what you said to me, that it seems strange that I would record with him. I think it's only strange because the media tend to present us in pigeonholes, you know. And he's this kind of singer, I'm the one that used to sing Summer Holiday and Congratulations, and then I fooled them all by doing Devil Woman. But in point of fact, I always think that all of us that make records are singers, and so therefore we're all basically compatible. And it's true, because Van Morrison and I do have different vocal styles, but if you get the right song, it gels, and there's a kind of charm about it, which I must admit I'm really happy that he asked me, because it wasn't my idea at all. And I wouldn't have had a record out now if it hadn't been for Van Morrison, so thanks, Van. Happy Christmas, mate.
Well, we'll be watching the charts in the new year anyway to see exactly where that one goes to. Now, listen, I must really talk a little bit about Christmas, because here we all are. I mean, hours away from the big event. Yes. And I think Christmas Eve itself is very special for you, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I always feel that in a way, Christmas... I mean, I've been a Christian for about 25 years, and it's in that period of time that Christmas has meant that much more. I mean, I've always enjoyed the presents and the food and the company and things like that, but when the spiritual aspect came into it, I somehow thought to myself, crumbs, I've missed all that for so many years. So I make the most of it. And for me, Christmas will always be, I tend to find a local church where there's a carol community, and you get there by 11, and you sing carols by candlelight or whatever, and then take communion. And it's usually it's about 12:30, 1 o'clock by the time you get home. And to me, that is the essence of Christmas. When I've done that, I say to myself, I know now what Christmas is really about, and I don't care about the commercial aspect. You know, if people are only commercial, then it's their loss, you know? Because I'm a commercial person. I mean, if I want to buy a present for someone I love, I have to have a transaction take place in my life, and I have to buy it, so it's business. But if that's all there is, then I think people are missing it. So for me, Christmas is very much that Christmas Eve moment. And then, of course, on Christmas Eve, my family come over and join me, so there are kids in the house. And I have a pretty ordinary Christmas like everyone else. And I hope everyone has as good and as peaceful a time as I plan to have tomorrow.
Well, I'm going to put you to work now, because we really want to get in the singing frame of mind. I know you're going to be singing in church tonight, but you've got to start it all off here.
All right.
And last year, your #1 was Mistletoe and Wine, so we thought that would be great.
You join me?
Yeah!
Happy Christmas.
This whole series of Sunday Sunday. We're back next year, of course, and all we really want to do is to wish everybody a very happy Christmas.
We do. Have a fantastic time, have a wonderful New Year, and we'll see you in it.
And I hope Santa's good too, so see you in the 90s. Bye-bye.